Welcome guys, thank you for watching this video, but before we proceed, do not forget to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, like this video, share it to all of your friends, and also check out the description for further information guys. And now, let's get into the video.
Alright guys, so welcome to today's video, and today we will create a sprint system inside of our One Piece game right here. And if we still have enough time left, then we can also work on a double jump. But only if we have enough time left later on. But yeah, so let's begin with the sprint system. And in order to do that, insert a local script instead of the starter pack. So right click, insert object, and local script. Let's call this one, let's call this one movement. So this will contain code regarding our sprint, but also regarding our double jump. And yeah, so let's get started with this one. So first of all, let's create a new variable called user import service. Yeah, user input service. So this service is responsible for detecting the user's input. This can be when the player has pressed a certain button, but it can also be when the player has used the mouse or also used gamepad controllers, etc. Well, at least I think so. And yeah, so overall this is just responsible for detecting the user's input. And since this is a service, we need to do this get service thing. And that's actually it. Now, to the next step. So user input service, input began, connect, function, well, not slash, but brackets, function. And the first argument is always the input, and the second one is the game processed event. I'm going to explain these two things in a bit. Well, I'm going to explain them now. So the input is probably clear, so this one just holds the input of the user. So this input began event will fire when the user has done an input, and this input can, as I've already said, can be a key, or can be a mouse click, or can be anything else, and this information is stored inside of the input. Now what the game processed event does is it basically tells us if this input was done while interacting with game elements such as the GUI, the chat, etc., or if the user really had the intention to just use the key or just use the mouse click, you know? So that's basically what GPE expresses. And we just start with if not GPE, means if the user really had the intention to do this input, then we can move on. And now we can check if our input got key code. So we are checking for a key and enum key code. So now we are adding a certain key, or we are checking for a certain key. So if the input was the left shift button, then sprint start. Yeah, so that's basically what is being expressed right here. So if the key code was left shift, then the sprint is going to start. Let's just see if this works. So I'm going to try and do that. And okay, it does not work. Okay. Yeah, I'm pressing shift, but nothing seems to work. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, okay, pretty weird. Let's try and use another key. What about control? Let's see what control does. Yeah, there we go. So at least control does work. So we will work with our left control button. So left control button is going to initiate the sprint. And my plan was to make the sprint a hold thing. So you basically need to hold the left control key to maintain the sprint, let's say, and if you let go of the left control key, then your sprint does end as well. But that's not the only case when the sprint does end. So I want the sprint to consume or to consupt stamina, and if your stamina reaches a certain limit, let's say your stamina is below 10, greater than 10, I'm sorry, greater than 10, then your sprint also comes to an end, and that's basically the plan for the next minutes. So we somehow need to gain access to our stamina information, and as you can see, we have these two values, so stamina and max stamina, and we need to refer to the stamina value. Let's do that. No, let's first of all refer to the player. So game players and local player. There we go. Now the next thing is our stamina. So the stamina was basically directly located inside of the player, therefore player. And well, let's try and do wait for child, because local scripts are a little bit fast and they usually try to access the instance when the instance is not even created or is not existent. Well, that does happen, and therefore let's use the wait for child thing. Okay, so since we want to make this a hold or hold to sprint thing, we need to do certain things. So we need to create a variable which basically tells us if the whole thing is being held right now or not. And for those purposes, I have created this bool value right here, which just has true or false, and currently is at false by default, which is pretty logical, because but you do not hold the key by default, you know, and of course the key is not being held or anything by default. So let's check for that. So if our pressed key was the left control button and our hold is false, then we can move on. I'm sorry. Okay, so sorry for that. I just had to go AFK, so my doorbell has just rung. But okay. Yeah, so where did we left off? Yeah, this hold value right here. So this hold value basically expresses if the key is currently being held. Why is that important? So I'm gonna create I'm gonna create the spawn thing at this point, and this one just make sure that everything within the spawn code, or these 2 points right here, so everything inside of here just runs apart, or let's say independent from the rest. So why is that important? So I'm about to create a while true do loop, and you guys probably know, so if you have been dealing with some sort of scripting, then you guys probably know that when using this loop, everything else is being paused. So if we would run into this loop, and if we would not place these spawns, then we cannot expect that this print right here will be, let's say, fired until this loop is done. So this loop has to come to an end in order for this print to be fired. And that's a problem, because we still want other things to be detected. And what possibly could be these other things? So if we are able to start this loop right here when the key has been pressed, then we also want this loop to come to an end when the key has been let go of. And that's an example for something which what we would want to detect. So with that being said, let's just move on with that. So user input service, input ended. So if this input has ended, then we want this loop to come to an end. And what is this loop, or what is this loop supposed to do? So this loop is going to initiate the sprint process. So it is going to make your character faster. It is going to change your field of view, basically just manipulate your camera and do that what you guys consider as, yeah, and camera animation or camera effects. So it is going to do that. And it is going to consupt your stamina, of course. So these are some aspects which are going to be done when working with the sprint. And this input-ended thing, so basically we are going to check when the left control button has been let go of, and this will initiate the ending process, let's say. And this one is going to let go all of these aspects. So it is going to stop the consumption of stamina, it is going to make your camera turn back to normal, and it is going to make your walk speed go to 16 as usual. And that's basically what is going to happen. And now, user input ended, connect, function, input GP. So it is basically just the same as above, just with the difference that this one fires when the input has begun, and this one just fires when the input has ended. And these are two huge differences. But before we end this input ended code, we still need to finish our loop. So, what is supposed to happen when our input has begun? So we should make sure that hold is true, because the key is now going to be held. And while the key is being held, we want all of these processes to be done. So by processes, I of course mean the consumption of stamina, the an increased walk speed, and the camera animations, etc. So all of these things are supposed to happen while our button is being held, and that's basically what is going to happen, and that's going to happen within this loop. So while hold, so we could also just say while hold, so that's totally fine. So this one is that's basically the same as hold double equals true. So while hold, so while this thing is true, this loop is going to just move on. It is just going to continue. And now, if you just think about it, so in order to end this loop, this condition right here has to be invalid. So hold basically needs to be something else than true, which is of course false. And so we just need to make this false in order to make this whole loop end. And now, one thing this input ended could possibly do is that it just turns our hold to false. So that's basically the way in how you end this loop. Alright, now there are still a few things which I need to just quickly think about. So of course we cannot fit everything inside of this loop, so this loop is not going to tell the script every second, or it is not going to tell the script to wait, no. That's going to be a little bit misleading. So wait, let me just script it, guys, and then you'll see what I was talking about. So let me add a remote event called movement, and let me add a server script which is going to react to these fire servers of that movement local script. Okay, now let's quickly define a new variable which is going to refer to our movement remote event. So game get service replicated storage, so we are referring to this one, and then from here we are going to refer to our movement replicated not replicated to our movement remote event. Alright, so wait for child movement. Alright, there we go. So from here we are just going to fire serve this one and this one. So wait, fire server. So there are a few things which are going to happen. The first thing is that our walk speed needs to change. So walk speed, no, let's call this sprint, okay? The second thing is that our stamina is going to be concepted. So sprint, concept stamina, and since we are going to make our player sprint within a certain time span, we need to make the stamina be reduced from time to time. And that's basically the reason why we use this loop. So we are not going to fire server this a million times within a loop. That totally makes no sense, because this fire server right here, so of course I did not script it yet, but in my idea, this one is just going to change your walk speed, and there is no point in firing the same remote event over a lot of times when there's no big effect behind, you know. So it just changes your walk speed, and if your walk speed has been changed for the first time, then there is no reason to change it for a second time when it is still going to be the exact same thing as in the first time, you know? So putting this inside of a loop is totally unnecessary. But we can put this inside of a loop, and this one is going to reduce the stamina, yeah, by just a random amount. And this one is of course not going to be fire servered right away. It is going to be fire servered within a random amount of seconds. So math random, let's put this to 1 to 15. So a random number between 1 and 15 is basically being chosen, and we're going to divide this by 10, which makes, let's say that 1 has been picked, okay? So 1 divided by 10 is 0.1. And that is basically, so this calculation right here is basically shortening the opportunities or the possibilities of our numbers. So we of course do not want to wait 15 seconds until the next amount of stamina is being reduced from our current stamina. So 15 divided by 10 makes 1.5. And you know, so it is just to be able to use decimal numbers. That's basically the point in dividing this by 10. So using decimal numbers delivers us just a big possibility of reducing the stamina, etc., just to make this more realistic. So you can either reduce the stamina every 1 second or every 2 seconds, or you can choose something in between. Yeah, so just having more possibilities, etc. So that's just the reason behind this. Okay, so our stamina has been concepted every 0.1 to 1.5 seconds, so basically something random in between. So we have dealt with the walk speed change, the stamina consumption, and the last thing is our field of view, our camera manipulation. Alright, so I had to go AFK again, so I forgot where I left off. Yeah, probably the camera thing. So in order to manipulate the camera, especially the field of view, I'm going to use the tween service. So those of you who have been watching my videos actively will probably know about this. So that's a service. Let me just try to briefly explain it. So let's say you have the space plate right here, okay? So if you take a look at the properties, let's take a look at the transparency, okay? So it is currently at 0, and when I set it to 1, it is transparent, as you can see. And let's consider this transparency at 0 thing as a state, okay? So that's the base plate's default state, okay? And a state, or a second state, is the state of the transparency, so of the invisibility of the base plate, you know? So when the transparency is at 1. So that's the second state, let's say. And now, what the tween service does is that instead of going from state 0 to state 1, right away without any transitions. So it's just doing this. So instead of doing that, the tween service creates some kind of transition in between. So instead of going to 1 directly, it maybe goes to 0.2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it is doing some kind of transition just to make things look more cooler than just, yeah, rapidly setting it to whatsoever. And it does work with many other things as well. So not only with transparency, we will use this on the field of view, so which is a property. So it just works with any of those properties right here. You can do it. You can do that with the size. You can do that with the, well, I'm not sure about colors, but probably reflectance, positioning, of course, and many other things. So you can just try it out if you want to. And I have used it a lot in my previous videos, so check them out if you want to. And that's basically what this thing does. So if you did not understand it, then I'm sorry for you, but maybe it gets more clear when I just continue working on that. So we are referring to the tween service and now using the create function. So the first argument of this function is the instance on which this tween is being applied, which is our camera, because as I've said, I want to manipulate the field of view right here. Therefore, we need to refer to our current camera. Now the second argument is the tween information. So information regarding the tween. So information like the time. So how fast is this tween going to play? So how fast is the transition going to be? What is going to be the style of the transition? What is going to be the direction of the transition? Is it going to repeat itself? Is it reversed? Whatsoever. So many of these informations right here. So as you can see, the first one is number time. Let's just set it to 1. Now the second thing is the easing style. So unum easing styles. There are many easing styles, but I just stick to linear. And now the next thing is the easing direction. Yeah, I just use out. Now repeat count, so we do not want this to repeat itself, therefore 0. There are not going to be any reverses, and there is not going to be any delay time. Alright, now the next thing, so the third argument is basically describing the second state I was talking about. So your default state is of course the state without the tween being even applied, so just your default state. And now the second state, well, maybe another word is goal. So you basically want to achieve a state, you know, which is your goal, which you want to do. And in our case, we want to increase our field of view to a certain number, probably 120 or something. So my goal or my second state I want to achieve is that the field of view is at 120. And that's basically what the third argument right here is being used for. You just enter your property and the desired value for your property. So the value which is going to be achieved through this tweening. So as you can see, the field of view currently is at 70. And now I can just enter field of view equals 120. And that's it. And now this tween is going to create a transition where this field of view is being increased to 120 within 1 second. And with all of these components, elements considered. So with an easing style, easing direction, and with all of the other things considered. And now let's just take a look at how this tweening looks like. So I'm curious myself. It's my first time doing this. And as you can see, it did work. So our field of view has changed. So maybe 120 is a little bit too much. Let's change that to 100. And let's make a shorter amount of time. So let's add 0.5. And we now could do the following. We could now just add this tween right here. So when we let the left control key go, and we can set this back to 70, which is our default, and just do the same thing but in reverse. As you can see, our field of view has changed, and now when I let go, it is supposed to, yeah, just change it back to normal again, but it does not do that because, remember, our second condition, hold needs to be false. And as you can see, hold is true. Therefore, we need to make sure that if we want to let go, that first of all our correct key is being let go, and that hold has to be true. Because why should you let go of a key which you're not even holding, you know? So there needs to be a meaning behind of it. So you want to achieve an effect by letting go of it. As you can see, we have created a camera effect, let's say. So the field of view is being increased. And now there are some things which we need to add, so such as the walk speed change, the stamina consumption, etc. And well, let me just play around with the time, because I think I don't know, I have the feeling that this camera thing, right, this camera effect is a little bit too slow, but now it is actually fine. Okay, that's good, that's good. Okay. So if there's anything you would like to change regarding the times, etc., just feel free. So I have explained what all of this code does. So just change it as you like. Yeah. Now let's move on with the rest right here. So with the sprint thing first of all. So in order to do that, so you of course are not able to change, well, you are, but it makes no sense. So you could change your walk speed from this local script right here, but that's not recommended, guys. That's against the rules of filtering enabled, and if you don't know what filtering enabled is, guys, then I recommend you to check that out. So get familiar with filtering enabled, but you guys probably know what it does, so yeah. So you know, so all of these things regarding remote events, server script, client-sided, server-sided, so that changes on the client will not be replicated to the server, but changes on the server can be replicated to all of the clients. So that's basically the rule right here. And changing things on your client does not mean that other players are able to see it as well. And therefore, we need to use remote events in order to tell the server that a change we would like to apply should be replicated to all of the other clients as well. So that's why we use this remote event right here. All right. So remote fire server sprint. Now let's go inside of this movement script, which is responsible for detecting those fire servers. So I have just copied this remote line right here, so this one refers to our remote event. Now remote on server event means when our remote event has been fire servered, then we receive the player automatically as the first argument, so the player who has fire servered this thing. And as you can see, we only have one argument. And let's just call this one task, because it tells our script what to do. So the first task right here is to sprint. Task sprint. So if our task is to sprint, then we will just do the code which is responsible for the sprint. But before we do that, I am going to refer to the character. I'm going to create a variable which refers to the character, and the character is usually stored. So if you have not changed it, it is stored inside of the workspace and has the same name as the player. Therefore, we can just search for an instance called, or which has the same name as our player inside of the workspace, because that is going to be our player if you have not changed anything regarding the character storage system, the characters, etc. And if you would do that, then I would highly doubt that you would need to watch those kind of videos, you know. So someone who is able to create complex character systems, etc., so where the character is not even stored in the workspace or has another name, etc. So I doubt that these people would watch those kind of videos, as this one is. And yeah. So player name. So this line right here just refers to the character, you know? So I've just explained the character is stored in a workspace and has the same name as the player. Therefore, we can just do this one. Okay. So if our task is to sprint, then I would like to use this tweening right here because that's good in this case. So as you guys know, walk speed is the property of the humanoid which determines our speed at the end, our walk speed, as the name of the property already says. And this property is a component of our humanoid. Therefore, I'm going to apply the tween on the humanoid and just increase the walk speed right here at the end, you know? So that's basically the plan. So, and the humanoid is inside of our character. Therefore, character humanoid, and the state we want to achieve is that our walk speed is, well, maybe around 30. And yeah, so that's basically it. And this one is going to play. Let me set it to 0.5. Let's see how this looks like. Yeah, okay, 30 is maybe a little bit too much. Let me change it to 25, maybe. Come on, 23. So 8 more than usual. Okay. So that's it with the sprint. Now the next thing is our... where is it? Our sprint consumpts stamina. And since this one is going to be fired within a loop, it is only supposed to, well, right here at least, it is only supposed to just remove the stamina, not to remove it within a loop or so. So we are not going to create a loop right here. We are just going to make a line which just reduces the stamina. And the loop part already is here, so there is no point in creating another loop right here, which is being fire servered through another loop, so that would just consume the stamina pretty fast. And yeah, okay. Now, let me create another variable which refers to our stamina, so player stamina and stamina dot value. So as you guys probably know from my last stamina video, so stamina value, wait, where is it? Yeah, stamina value. So we are basically saying that our stamina's value is our stamina's current value minus a random amount of stamina, or a random number, which is being reduced from our current stamina. So math random, let's say something in between. Alright, I had to go AFK again, so random amount, random number from 1 to, let's say, well, no, never mind. 1 to, no, not 1. Yeah, 1 to, let's say 5. And yeah, that's basically it. So our stamina is being reduced by a random number from 1 to 5 every 0.1 to 1.5 seconds. Yeah, as you can see, our stamina is being reduced, and our character is running like crazy. Alright. Alright. So that's it with these things. There is still one more requirement right here I would like to add in order to end the loop. So our first requirement is that the key needs to be held. Another requirement has to be that that we have enough stamina left, because why should you be able to consume stamina and sprint when you do not have enough stamina left, you know? So you need to have some stamina in order to sprint. So another requirement should be that our stamina, that value, is greater than 10. Okay. Now, down here, we should add, or we should fire server in order to receive our normal walk speed back. So remote fire server sprint end, and yes, so I'm gonna just do the same as right there above, but just set the walk speed to 16 again, and I'm gonna make the time. So the time right here, I'm gonna set this one to 0.25. Okay. No, wait. We forgot to add this end right here. Alright, that's it. I think that this should work fine now. So let's try and sprint till our stamina is at 10. There's probably some code we need to add. Yes, our stamina is being regenerated. Okay, so there are still some things we need to take care about. Okay. Alright. Okay. So, yeah. Regarding the regeneration, let's create a new variable and a new value instead of, within this whole thing right here. And this one is going to be a bool value, and it is going to control whether our stamina should be able to regenerate itself or not. And by default, it is set to true. So if we are able to regenerate, then of course regenerate. And if not, then you won't be able to regenerate. Now, instead of this movement script, we should make sure that our regeneration is set to false. So, player, wait for child, stamina regen value, false. And right here, down here, is being set to true again. Okay, let's check this out. As you can see, we are losing stamina, and it is not regenerating or anything. And that's good. And now it is regenerating again. And now it has stopped regenerating. Now it has, now it is greater than 10. Therefore it has stopped. But we are still able to move past, etc. And we need to fix that. So after the loop, we should look out for the following. So if the thing is still being held, no wait, while hold,
And okay, so if hold is true and the stamina is not greater than 10, then everything down here should happen. So we should be slow again, and our camera goes back to normal, etc. So all of these things should happen when our stamina is greater than 10. So everything which happens when we would let go of the control key. Okay. Oh, okay. It just did stop. Wait. Yeah. Okay, it does stop. Alright, so that's it with the video, guys. I hope that you have enjoyed it. If so, leave a like, subscribe, share this video to all of your friends. Also, yeah, give me ideas in the comment section, and there is this anime Battleground Arena video coming to you soon. So I'm gonna start a new series because many of you have been suggesting that. And yeah, thank you for your overwhelming support. Take care and see you in the next video.